Airport employees, what is the saddest goodbye you've witnessed? I worked at Barcelona Airport for several years, mostly at the sales desk and helping with boarding procedures. Over time, I witnessed a lot of emotional moments, tearful reunions, frantic goodbyes, and occasional heartbreak, but there was one goodbye that stuck with me more than anything else. It was a bright, clear afternoon when a couple approached our desk. The woman, Elena, was Spanish, and her husband David was British. They had a small toddler, a little boy of 2, who seemed full of life from what I could see. They were in Barcelona to visit Elena's family for a short trip. Normally, I would have helped them check in, smile, make small talk about their trip, but that day, something felt different. The flight they were on required special assistance, which wasn't unusual. But when the paperwork came across my screen, a code jumped out at me: Jim Wilson. Anyone working in aviation knows this code. It's the carrier code for a deceased passenger being transported home. I froze for a moment trying to process it. That little boy, the toddler in the stroller just minutes ago, was gone. He had passed away suddenly, for reasons we never learned, and now his body was being flown back to England. Elena's family had gathered in the terminal, nearly 30 people in total. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, they all formed a small crowd hovering around the little coffin, speaking in hushed, broken voices. I don't think I've ever seen grief that raw. Elena's mother, Carmen, was holding onto her daughter, both of them trembling, crying openly. David stood beside them, clutching Elena's hand, his face pale, jaw tight, silent. The entire family seemed suspended in a kind of disbelief, as if the world had stopped moving. I tried to keep my own composure while assisting them. Every word felt inadequate. There was no polite phrase that could comfort them, no instructions about baggage or boarding that mattered. I remember handing over the paperwork, carefully explaining the transport procedure in the quietest tone I could manage, and all the while hearing the soft sobs, feeling the tension radiating through the group. One of my coworkers, Maria, was assisting at the gate nearby. She later told me she had to step outside for a few minutes because she couldn't stop crying herself. A few other coworkers admitted the same. It was impossible not to be affected. The grief was contagious. It wasn't just sadness, it was a sense of something irreparably lost, something that couldn't be fixed or replaced. The small coffin was carefully moved by the airline staff, carried slowly down the jetway, accompanied by the sobbing family. Elena's father, who had flown in from Madrid, whispered something to his granddaughter, clutching her hand. No one tried to speak over the grief. Everything felt suspended in a kind of reverent silence, broken only by the soft wailing of family members. David's shoulders shook as he held Elena closer. Every small movement, every glance, was a silent acknowledgement of their loss. For the rest of my shift, I couldn't focus. The image of that family, the little coffin, the mother and grandmother rocking back and forth, the father trying to be strong but failing, stayed with me. I kept thinking about their loss, about how fragile life can be, and how quickly it can change in a single moment. Years later, I became a father. I have a 9-month-old daughter now, and remembering that day at the airport hits differently. The grief that I witnessed, something I had observed as an employee at arm's length, now feels visceral. I picture Elena holding her little boy, the way Carmen must have clung to her daughter, the quiet heartbreak of David. It's unbearable in a way that can't be described fully, a sorrow so immense it leaves an echo long after the moment has passed. That family left the airport quietly, escorted by staff, the coffin secured for its journey back home. They didn't speak much to anyone else, their focus entirely on each other and on saying goodbye. It was one of those moments that teaches you something about life and loss, something you can't unsee once you've witnessed it. I hope that Elena, David, and their family have found some way to navigate the pain, some way to honor their son's memory. I hope that, even with time, they carry him with them in ways that bring comfort rather than despair. I think about them often, especially now, holding my own child close, and it breaks my heart all over again. Even in a busy airport, where people rush and announcements blare and flights depart every few minutes, that goodbye was different. It was a reminder that life can change in a single moment, and that sometimes the quietest, smallest passengers leave the biggest emptiness behind.